I'm so
that
glad you're
wonderful,
here.
though? That
Yes.
was so timely, so timely. God is love, and we're to be like him. More love, more of Jesus and less of me.
Yes.
Oh, I want to thank you guys for having me.
Oh,
As soon as I walked through the door, I felt welcome. Everybody greeted me, you know, they acknowledged me, or you acknowledged me, and I felt that I'm already. I've been already blessed. I mean, by
we're just happy to have you, brother.
Yes.
the worship and your testimony. Thank you for sharing, and happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. I was telling my brother here that I have like a speech impediment, and it's been like a major, challenge, in my life, physically. But that is not, who I am. It's what I do.
Amen. Yes.
And if you give me some patience, I will come from the heart. I give you everything I got.
Amen. Yes.
Because it's about, Christ, you know what I mean? And he is worthy of our struggles. Everybody has a story, Paul says that we are living epistles.
Yes,
We're walking books,
yes,
for all men to read. And
read of all men. Yes.
I want to take this time to share my story. I was born in Arkansas. Oh, first of all, how much of the time I have of the cost?
As much as you need. As much as you need.
All right.
We're not in a hurry. We don't do
We
times.
don't do that.
Okay.
Time is no more once you walk through that door.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that.
I see that you have your blanket, your pillow, so no, I'm kidding. But I was born in a teenage year parents in 1965. My parents split up right before I was born. After my mother found out that her first boyfriend he was involved with another girl, and they both were pregnant. So I have like a brother who I'm 5 months older than. But my mother, cut him off immediately. She only allowed him to see me one time, after I was born. He was a high school, athlete, football, player in Arkansas, and he had a lot of college offers, but he chose to enlist in Vietnam. And so I would not even see him or meet him for the next 18 years. My mother had me, and 2 months later, she decided to leave Arkansas, and she left me in the care of her parents, who would raise me for the first 6 years of my life. My grandmother, she was the first love I ever knew. First time I ever heard the word, God, it was on my grandmother's mouth. She bonded with me. We would rock on the front porch in the evenings. She would tell me stories, about slavery or about the Lord, my childhood or whatever. She would sing me hymns, and her lap, it was a place and respite for me. I had absolute peace with my grandmother. But my grandfather, he loved me as well, but he died when I was 5, and so and he was not much of the only bonding type as well, I guess. But nevertheless, my grandmother, I credit as being the one who instilled in me values of respect for adults. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, and all that. You know what I'm saying? That was rooted in me at an early age. But with all my grandmother's love and all of that, it did not guarantee absolute protection from all sides. When I was 4 years old, an older cousin spent the night with us, and it thunderstormed, on that night, and so he slept in the bed with me, and later that evening, I was awakened by my cousin trying to penetrate me from behind. It was a foreign, feeling, made me very uncomfortable, and he begged me not to tell, our grandparents what he was doing, but thank God, I ran and told them anyway. Again, when I was 6, an older female cousin also molested me. And once again, I had that emotion, of being uncomfortable, I did not know that, that wasn't a part of my world, and yet, it had invaded my life at a young age. But those things were dealt with, and it did not really have an outward effect, because my grandmother continued to love and nurture me and allow me to be that kid. Life soon changed. My mother had been living in Chicago. She had come home from time to time. She came back with my sister, who was born on my 2nd year birthday. She later came back with another sister, was 6, I was taking my hand from grandma, and she had moved back to Hot Springs in Arkansas and sent her common law your husband to pick me up. That day, my world changed. It was very emotionally traumatic man for me. I clung to my grandmother's ways, begging her not to let the strange man take me. But my mother still had legal rights because I was not adopted at that time, looking back in hindsight. But that day, a thought entered into my mind while I was yelling and screaming and crying, said, see that car, coming? When it gets, closer, run in the street and lay down. At least you won't have to leave your grandma. So that's what I did. I pushed off, ran in the street at the age, man, I was 6 years old, laid down in the street in front of an approaching car. Fortunately, they saw me and my soon to be stepfather ran out on the street and grabbed me. But looking back, Satan was trying to put me to death even then as a 6-year-old. Well, I ended up moving to Hot Springs, and all bonding stopped. I no longer had a lap to crawl up in. And rest. My bedroom now consisted of a closet in the hallway on like a rollaway, bed. And I was never touched man again. There was no affection. My mother had been associated with the Black Panther party out in Arkansas. Chicago, and so she wasn't the affection type. And our landlords were a Jehovah's Witness family. They had a daughter who was named the youngest. Pat, helped to bring me some joy in my life. She was a tomboy, type. She kind of pulled me around by the nose. I followed her everywhere, and she was my friend. She had several older brothers who I wanted to, I was drawn to, what I'm saying, to hang with. But they didn't let this little snotty nose little kid, hang out with them and everything. But one day, I finally got my opportunity. I was invited out in the back of the woods shooting at some birds. They had pellet gun, what I'm saying, it was black, looked like a 45. So I'm trolling them, back there, I was excited. I could not wait until, I got a turn to shoot. one of the guys, shot a, chichi, bird, I think it was. And that bird fell from the tree, dead. And so, after a while, that same gun was pointed on me. And I was told to get on my knees and that I better not even tell anyone. They kind of circled around me. One of the guys started unzipping his pants and he forced his penis in my arm. And I'm crying. I'm wondering, what did I do wrong? And I'm begging the man to stop. But they were not hearing that. And again, a thought entered in my mind, when you see an opening, get up and run. So that's what I did. And I started running, thinking that I was going to get shot in the head. That never happened. I ran, and I got up on the house, and I stayed there, crying for a while. And I had to live around these guys, for the next year without a secret, because I was told that, my elder told me what I was going to die, and that my parents would be put out on the street. And so I believed them. Well, when I was 8, my parents decided to move it to California, to a place called Watts. Have you heard of Watts? And so we my stepfather had family already out there, who had already left like a year earlier. My mother trailed my mom and I trailed after I went in to see my grandmother one last time. And the Greyhound bus took us into Washington, California. I was culture shocked, all the traffic, all the people with noise, and I was not used to all that, sort of stuff, and when we got to the projects, my cousins greeted me and everybody, they welcomed us, and well, during the first week, we were outside playing, 2 men were across the street in the parking lot, talking, and like an argument, started, and one of the guys, took all the gun and shot the guy in front of us. The guy, died. And I'm looking at this, as an 8-year-old. To the other kids, it was normal. But for me, it was very, shocking. Also in that same week, I'm in like an inner city ministry, called World Impact. Who had the founder, showed up during the Watts riots, and I'm 65, and so I'm reaching out, what I'm saying, and say, hey, the kids, man, the gospel and of Christ, I came along, 8 years after that, and it was during the time when the Crips and the Bloods, gang, had already been, formed. They were still in infancy. I got to see the original, gangs the original Crips and all this and that, you know, every day you're walking up and down my sidewalk. And, but in that same week, yeah, I was introduced into Christ, you know, through the world impact, and I accepted, you know, Christ as an 8-year-old. And so, two worlds started competing over my life from that point on. Because I did not have a Christian home, you know, eventually, the gang life went out. I went to barbecue clubs, you know, faithfully for 4 years, you know, because at that time, World Impact was not, you know, living in Watts. They only came, you know, once a week for different, you know, age, you know, groups. And so the only time I got a hug, you know what I'm saying, was once a week. But because of my speech impediment, my peers started bullying me, man, a lot. You know, I was spit on, I was chased on, I was physically and abused. I would come home with split lips. My stepfather would tell me to get back out there, you know what I'm saying, and fight them, or I'm going to whoop your a choice word. You know what I mean? I chose to stay in the house and get a beating because at least he would have me some mercy. Well, anyway, by the time, you know, I was 11 years old, you know, I was at like a crossroad. You know, I was tired of feeling like a victim, and I was humiliated one day, man, at school, and I lied and said, you know, or pretended like the jokes were funny. I had learned to laugh with them, thinking that they would back off and think, you know, I was cool, but I could no longer hold it in, and so, you know, I lied and said I had to use my hand in the restroom, and I began to walk over there, and the closer than I got, the tears began to swell up in me, and I started trotting, then I started running. Fortunately, no one else was in the bathroom, and I started crying, and I started kicking the trash can, slamming, you know, doors or whatever, and I started begging, you know, God to tell me, why did he make me like this? My mother also, you know, stuttered, and you gotta understand about your stuttering. If your confidence is, man, a tree, stuttering, you know, is the axe to that tree. I didn't have any confidence. You know what I mean? I had stopped learning as a kid. You know, I closed off because I was convinced that I was nothing. You know, I didn't have any value, and I would never be anything. So I'm begging God to give me some answers. And I seen the movie, The 10 Commandments. And I saw God, you know, talking to Charleston Heston. You know, I wanted to hear that same thing, but when I didn't hear anything, you know, I concluded that God didn't really care, or he didn't have the power meant to stop it, you know, at the age of 11. And so that day, you know, I decided, you know, I was going to learn how to head back, and I dried my tears, and rebellion took root. And so I turned my attention to those who had the power, you know, the Crips. And so by the time, you know, I was 12 years old, I had officially initiated myself, you know, I was initiated into the Crips game, and I put myself in hand positions around those with influence, who we call OGs, meaning original gangsters. And my world, you know, changed. You know, I saw murders, you know, participate in robberies, gang, you know, fights, you know, I was pistol whipped, I've been shot at multiple times. I've had guns, you know, click in my face, you know what I mean? And somehow, you know, God, you know what I'm saying, he would always arrange, you know what I'm saying, to spare me after death. One, you know, short little story, I didn't play, you know, sports, man, at this time. I didn't like, you know, sports. And I think I was maybe 16 or something like that. And I was in the gym, you know, I was bored. And so I'm watching these guys, you know, play, you know, basketball. And so smoking me some weed. And all of a sudden, I heard a voice say, "Leave." And I looked around like, you know, who's that, you know, talking to me? And I blew it off. And that voice became more persistent. And then like a panic started to set in. You know, I thought it was that weed, you know, talking. And so I eventually obeyed and the voice. My building was right across the street from the gym. And so I left, proceeded home. As soon as I got to the parking lot, I heard multiple, you know, feet running on the pavement. And so I turned around to see who it was, you know, running, and it was several guys. They ran into the gym. It was around 7 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? And so the sun had already started, man, setting, and all of a sudden I heard girls in there, you know, screaming, you know, and I heard one of the guys, you know, asking, "What are those, you know, great freak, you know, niggas at?" Excuse me. I was a member of the Great Free Washington Crips, you know what I mean? So they got my attention, and the guys, you know, came out, and my buddy, Erick West, he was walking towards the gym of your interest, and he met them there. And I could see on your own the silhouette and or on your own the light that these guys had, guns. And so I stood behind my building watching, and one of the guys, asked Ray what city he was from. Ray said, I ain't bought that. I'm like a family man, I'm just trying to have money. And he was telling them the truth about that. Well, one of the guys who eventually I knew he was a blood. He pulled the shotgun and on Ray, and he fired. I saw the flame come out, Ray dropped to the ground, and these guys took off. I was not packing at the time, and so I wasn't able to help him. Ray ended up dying. Turned out one of my homeboys, man from Great, had killed one of their homeboys earlier, and they were retaliating. Looking back, I realized if I would have ignored that voice, a couple more minutes, I would have met them at the door, and I know they would have sprayed me down. Yep, I would have been shot to death on the spot. And but that's the life, the culture that I grew up in. That little boy man from Arkansas, and to fast you forward, I had gotten at a point to where I had enough. My best friend Edward and I had co-founded a gang that still exists and today. This was in 1978, and it's 12 to 13 year olds. And this game, it made Newsweek and all these other things, man, for drive-by shootings and all this other stuff, and but God began, man, to step in, and I lost 6 of my relatives in 7 months. One of them was my grandma. The second of them, the 6. But by this point, I couldn't even cry. I had become so callous, I couldn't even cry before my own grandma. I tried to force myself and to cry, recalling memories. I could feel all the tears coming up, and then it shut off. And I felt guilty about that. And so I remember my grandma tried to get me to eat greens. And I said, okay. I'm gonna honor her. I'm gonna start eating greens. And that's what I did. And I love them today. But the last of them, the 6, was my peer, my cousin, who his mom was, and the first of the 6. to die that April, you know, of cirrhosis of the liver. He walked out on her. He snuck into him at a party when his mom had asked him to stay there with her. He came back like around 4 o'clock in the morning to check on her, and she looked either odd